Sorry about that, guys. That won't happen again. I've been doing lives. Please jump on here real quick. We have to start from scratch, and that's fine. Lesson learned. I'll explain what just happened a few minutes ago. Let me just try and build up my audience here and see if we can get the show back on the road. Guys, do me a favor, please, if you can, please share this live and sort of spread it out to people that you think would be interested in this conversation. We were talking earlier, and let me just make it very clear. And this is a lesson that all live streamers have to learn, you sort of live and learn with it. When you're doing a live and you've made sure that your mic is fine, there are people on your live stream that want to sabotage your live. They want to just, and they want to. Sorry, sometimes that happens. The live cuts off. Please jump on here real quick. Hey, Maxwell, I see you. I see you, Max. It's good to see you. What was that? Well, if it cuts one more time, I'm going to have to reset. I'm going to have to maybe switch service providers. If it cuts one more time, I'm going to have to switch service providers. I'm using MTN right now for my live stream, and I may have to switch to my Wi-Fi if it cuts one more time. Please tell me that this broadcast is loud and clear, and then we can get the show on the road. What I was saying is that sometimes when you're doing a live broadcast, there's some people that will try and throw you off by mentioning your sound. And not to say that your sound never cuts off. Sometimes that happens. You're doing a live and your mic is messed up. But the people that are true supporters of your live, that's the reason it's important. It's important to identify people that follow you regularly, people that are consistently on here. For me, there's a few people like Joseph Chishimba, Bo Allen, Stacy B, Anita Zoe. These are the people you have to look out for. If there's a problem with your sound, you simply say, hey, Bo Allen, is my sound okay? If the people that regularly listen to you say your sound is fine, then you continue. But if just some random person just shows up and says, oh, hey, something's wrong with your mic, what they're trying to do is they're trying to stop your flow of thought. They're trying to disrupt you. They're trying to distract you so that you don't deliver your live. It's a tactic saboteurs use, and it works very well if you're not attuned, if you're not careful. Like it worked a few minutes ago. I was going at it, and I just read one comment that said, your mic is off. What I should have done was I should have waited, but I immediately cut the live. So now I have to start from scratch to rebuild the audience I have. So anyway, let's get into it. Guys, as many of you, the very first thing I want to talk to you about is Tayali, and to rehash and to reiterate, many of you know that Tayali's been on the run. He's a fugitive. He's been on the run for about a year, maybe slightly longer than that. And I was saying in my earlier broadcast before I was interrupted that as social media personalities, as they call us influencers, the only true currency we have is the currency of attention here on this medium called Facebook and TikTok or YouTube. It is attention born out of our audience, an audience that many of us have worked many years to sort of build. If you have an audience of 500,000 people, you're on your way. I mean, you have attention. And now the moment that attention is taken away, you become irrelevant to the people that use you to disseminate either their propaganda or their false information or whatever it is. The moment you lose your grip on your audience, the moment Facebook or YouTube or TikTok, the moment they ban you from using their platform, then you become irrelevant to the people, to your paymasters. In this case, Chilufya Tayali was for many, many years used by many different people to disseminate different pieces of information, many of it accurate. Some of it accurate, but most of it accurate. Many of it, most of it inaccurate. And most of it inaccurate. And the moment Facebook decided to put a line through Tayali's page instead of under it, he lost his use to the PF and to Tonse and to people that sort of peddled, used him to peddle their wares and to do their bidding in a sense. And now, when Facebook closes your account that has an audience, the work that goes into rebuilding that audience, it is very demotivating. You know, you can do it once. You know, if they block your page once, and hey, Stacy B, I see you, thank you. If they block it once, and then you know, just the tedious process of rebuilding it is a lot of hard work. And some people are saying his page is back. All of us can open any page we want. My point is, you have to start from scratch. You have to rebuild. You have to build again, and that is demotivating. Anyway, so when his page was closed, he sort of went mute for a while, and then we began to read in the news that the two people that offered themselves as surety had to pay 50,000 kwacha each in order to escape the noose of jail. The magistrates told these two people, kuti imwe uyutayari tamwamuleta kukot ali butuka, he's a fugitive, and you offered yourselves, and these are PF aligned members of the Patriotic Front, you offered yourselves as surety. Tayali is not here, and if you don't each pay 50,000 kwacha, you will be incarcerated. You know, and again, and this sort of bleeds into the lesson of don't offer yourself as surety for just anyone. There's certain people you can offer yourself as surety. You don't, just because he's a party affiliate, it doesn't mean that he's worth placing your neck on the chopping board for. You don't have to put your head under the guillotine for someone that calls themselves a PF member just because you are party mates. No. Be careful with who you place yourself, you align yourself with. So those two chaps, those PF chaps, they are less 50,000 kwacha because Tayali didn't show up. Now, aside from the fact that Tayali has ruined his relationship with his family, and for what? For what? What is more important than family? You know, why would you place your family in harm's way simply because you want to be used as a propaganda machine to peddle lies and falsehoods? When you say things like the chief was the one that engineered gassing, and you don't really have proof to that effect, and when the law runs its course and they take you to task, and then you cry foul and you say it's political persecution, this, that, and the other, you haven't done the right thing. And so I personally think that Chilufya's choices have landed him in the position that he's in. I remember, and this bears repeating, I remember before Hakainde Hichilema became president, Chilufya Tayali swore up and down that HH would never be the president of this country. And Tayali made it very clear that if and when HH becomes the president, Tayali would leave Zambia and go to Ethiopia and be taken care of by his wife, Well, HH became president. Tayali left the country, but he didn't go to Ethiopia. He went to Malaysia. So which begs the question, why didn't he go to Ethiopia to be taken care of by his wife? There are a lot of reasons why that is. Okay, and I'll let you make that conclusion. All righty. I want to talk about the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Honorable Gift. Now, let me preface this by saying, when politicians stand in front of a crowd that is predominantly kada-based, street vendor-based, you end up saying the wrong thing. Because when you pander to the public, and I've often said this and I'll say this again, the way to know that you are saying the right thing in as far as street vendors and people like bus drivers and the vast majority of our people on the street, in order for a politician to know that he's saying the right thing, when you say something and the crowd cheers and they applaud you, that means you're saying the wrong thing. That means you're not placing the city first. Because let's begin from the premise that street vending in this country is illegal. Now, if you don't want it to be illegal, change the law. But there is a law that is abundantly clear, that spells in black and white that street vending is illegal. So if you want to rage against that law, change it so that it's no longer there. But you cannot have a law that prohibits street vending and then have a government official use words that oppose that law. I'll give you an example. When the minister stood at Kulima Tower and in front of that constituents, understand that in the fray of delivering a speech as a minister, you must be very careful what you say, because your words have far-reaching consequences. What the minister said was, and I shared this with him many of you saw when I went to see him yesterday, and I must say he was very, very welcoming to me. He opened his office to me and we sat and spoke for a good while. He allowed me to air my concerns, and I asked him, I said, Minister, would you please give me the privilege of just being honest with you? Now keep in mind that what I'm going to say you may not like, but I say it because I've been on the street for many, many years. I know the psyche of the street vendor. I know the psyche of our traders. I know the psyche of our marketeers. Why? Because I've spent more than 25 years with them. I know them like the back of my hand. The perception you have of them is different from my perception, because I relate with them from an experiential point of view. You know, you're a minister. You don't spend time with those people. I do. So I'm going to say things to you that you may not like, but they're the truth. The first thing is, never pander to street vendors. Never. Because there's a law that prohibits it. When you use words like don't harass street vendors, what he was referring to is, as you know, the council used to conduct these sweeps in the CBD. They would drive around the CBD, the Central Business District, with a truck that would confiscate anyone that was displaying goods on the street. Now, when a minister defines that as harassment, there's a problem. It's like, and I asked him this when they called for the press briefing and he made a rebuttal statement to the media. One of the questions I asked him was, Minister, what do you say to people that say you misuse the word harass? It would be like a thief breaking into a house, and then the police respond to a complaint that a thief, an intruder, is in the house, and the police forcibly grab this intruder, throw him on the ground, and arrest him. Would it be correct for the thief to say, no, the police harassed me? No, that's not the point. The point is you broke the law and the police responded accordingly. In the same vein, by the same token, I don't know why people don't understand this, but to me it's very simple. In the same vein, by the same token, when there's a law that prohibits something, and then law enforcement is sent to deal with that something, how then do you define it as harassment? Please tell me in the comments. I really want to hear this. And this is why I say and I said this to the minister as well. Ministers, don't have an open door policy in as far as cadres are concerned. The only people that ministers should be getting guidance from are technocrats and stakeholders. If a minister, any minister in any office is receiving instruction and is feeding information that a minister is acting on, information given to that minister by a street vendor, the minister will be misled. Because the street vendor is going to feed that minister information that will benefit the street vendor, not the city. The city comes first. I don't know why this is difficult. Why is this a problem? The city comes first. The functionality of the city comes first. The conduciveness of the city comes first. The flow of traffic comes first. It's got nothing to do with because you see, when you use the word don't harass them, in my language, that is osativuda. Don't harass us. Tifuno diesavana mutivuda. Tifuno diesavana mwabwera na track yanu mwa council mutivuda. That is wrong. Nobody is harassing them. They are fulfilling their mandate. Why? Because there is a law that prohibits that activity. Again, if you don't like that law, change it. But you can't have your cake and eat it too. Now, understand, everything I'm saying to you now, none of what I'm saying to you will resonate with anybody on the street. What I'm saying to them is anti-them. They think I'm pro-elitist. They think, no, mlayumfa, you don't like us. No. What I'm saying to you is, it is possible to have a functional city. Our plea is for our traders to trade inside the market where they have access to clean water, running water, shelter. They pay their stipend to the council. They pay a rent to the council. The vendor doesn't want to pay any rent. The only money he wants to part with is money he gives to the cadres. Now, let me explain. The moment the minister made that announcement where he said, don't harass street vendors, my God, Lumumba Road was packed. Simon Moore Lane, Kalusha Walia Road was packed full of vendors. Why? Because now the cadres now went into full swing and told marketeers, told the street vendors, Wekele in street. Now, let me explain why cadres do that. It is to their advantage when vendors trade on the street. Why? Because now cadres can charge the street vendors money. Money that the minister is completely unaware of. And I told him this. I said, Minister, when you say don't harass vendors, you are opening the floodgates to chaos. It means now all the cadres now are going to tell street vendors and traders, go back in the street. The minister has agreed. Now, when they go back into the street, it is now the chance for cadres to begin to charge the vendors. Iwe, imwazimai apa muri 10. Chila muntu lete nyama 500 kwacha. Ushusha, chokapo. Si ufuna, chokapo. Bantu bambili pano. Bafuna olipira ma 500 kwacha. Iwe ambo dandaula iwe. Tiza kuchosa hapo pano iwe. Yeah? Uzaenda kuti ba minister kuti twamicha jinga ma 500 kwacha mu road umu. Uzachoka hapo pano. Apa maro yetiza kupoka. Siuza gulisa pano, siuza tantika pano iya. Imwe azimai bulesani ma 500 kwacha. Bali bangati hapa. Muli bangati 50. That is how it is. Do you see the chaos that spawns? Now, don't be deceived when you think that it is only when a statement like that is made by the minister of local government. When a statement is made by the minister of local government, Kuti, don't harass them. Do you know what that means? It's not the vendors, it's not just confined to Lumumba Road. It's not just confined to Galushabwalia Road. It's not just confined or limited to Simon Mwewa. It means now, Cairo, tibwera ku Cairo, tibwera ku Freedom, tibwera ku Chachacha, paja pa Bank of Zambia paja, tizambo tantika pa Bank of Zambia paja, osativuta. Dare anyone go to a street vendor who has placed mangoes, tomatoes, imbushine nefishimunenswa paliapa gate ya Bank of Zambia? You go to a vendor who trades in front of Bank of Zambia and you say to that trader, apo chako apo pano. Do you know what that trader is going to say to you? Wait for my minister now to finish. Who are you to tell us to move from the gate of Bank of Zambia? If where the ministers told us, kuti osati vuta iya tufuno gulisa, Tres shapano today shabana iwa isa mkutu ebati fumia ntwani pa gate ya Bank of Zambia. When my minister now to sumilisha. Do you see what you have to deal with? Do you see that? So when you have a system, when you proclaim a position that implies, that insinuates that there should be no confinement to trade. Trade wherever you want. After all, you are a Zambian. Go and trade. Go and put fruit, nembushi, nefshimu, nenswa in front of Bank of Zambia there. No one should harass you. Is that correct? The other thing the minister said that I took great exception to, and I shared this with him, I'll be very frank, I didn't like the fact that the minister used the words, let the people enjoy the freedom because they voted for this freedom. So the implication there, you are insinuating, Kuti, all the street vendors voted for UPND. Is that what? Because when you say that, there the implication is all the street vendors, all the marketeers, all of them voted for UPND. That is not correct. That is not correct. Some did, others didn't. Muma street vendors, mwali baba PF, mwali baba MMD, mwali baba UPND, mwali baba Tonse. It is an amalgamation. It is a hodgepodge. Assorted, as we say in Zambia. So for a minister to use that phrase, Kuti, allow people to vote for the freedom they voted for. The insinuation is all street vendors voted for UPND. But that can't be true, because people vote for who they want to vote for. That is why this country is a democracy. There are people for, there are people against. Don't use politics when it comes to the sanity of this city. Don't. Don't. Don't use politics when it comes to the sanity of this. The city comes first. Say it in the comments with me. Before party affiliation, before pandering, before appeasement, before tickling the ears, the city comes first. So my admonition to local authority, Lusaka City Council, anyone working in these government offices, when you are standing in front of people who are cheering for you, be very careful what you say, because your words now become policy on the street. Now, as you've seen, the minister had to recant. He had to change the statement. But the damage has been done in such a way that it's very difficult to undo it. All the gains that Lusaka City Council made when they were doing the sweeps of going through the city, confiscating goods, in an effort to tell our people that you can't sell on the street, go and sell in the market. Council police now are persona non grata. What does that mean? I just used the word, I don't even know what that means. You know? Okay, Google. What does persona non grata mean?
It's a Latin phrase that means an unwelcome person. You'll usually hear it in the context of diplomacy. Basically, if a country declares a diplomat persona non grata, that diplomat is no longer welcome there and has to leave.
Okay. Thank you. Council police, because of that word the minister used when he says, don't harass them, council police now are persona non grata. They'll even be stoned there in the street. Iwachi council police official takuna minister bali tweba titule chishamu musebo iyo waisa kunona chitrakcho twala kwipaya iwe twala kustapaiksi. We laugh, but that is the fact of the matter. Once again, if you don't like street vending, change the law. What, you want us to ignore the law? Huh? So if we do that, if we ignore that law, it means we can ignore other laws. Now, let me explain the task. Ideally, what is supposed to happen in this case, where the minister retracts the statement and clarifies, Kuti, no, street vending still remains banned. What is supposed to happen now is that the minister, through the local the local authority, Lusaka City Council, they are now supposed to dispatch all their councillors, all their foot soldiers, to disseminate that information. For example, in the Ward 12, Harry Mwangankumbla Ward, there's Councillor Mwanza here. The moment the minister retreads or reverses the statement, all councillors now should be on the ground disseminating that information, speaking the language of the minister, telling the foot soldiers, because under the councillor are cadres. Okay? There's the minister of local government, there's the mayor, okay? There's Lusaka City Council, there's the councillors, then there are these cadres, these foot soldiers. What the minister said has to trickle down to all of these people. The way to do it is all the councillors have to be on, all hands on deck. All hands on deck. All the councillors now have to swing into action. Bane, iseni. Now move forward, Mr. Malanda. But Minister Batile, if you this is wrong. Working in my markets. But in Zambia, do they do that? Zambia. Oh. Zambians. He doesn't care. They don't care. You think they care about this city? They'll just allow the cadres to continue apportioning land on the street. Kuti ba minister batipasa how do you say permission in Nyanja? Muchibemba batupele nsambu. Ba minister batupele nsambu. Kuti mule tantika mu road. So if ofwema cadres to alama no moku michita charge ama 500 kwacha chila muntu fa ushile fire afumepo. Wamena siafuna uzachokapo. Erionga wadandaula tizakumenya tizakupisha pano. Imara tizatenga. But do we have such people in this country? Do we have that? Do we have a council pool of councillors who can call their people together and disseminate that information? Voila, there's nothing like that. Which councillor is going to do that? Because it doesn't benefit them. Councillors don't care about this. You think councillors care about this town? Nobody cares. You are disillusioned if you think councillors care. They don't care. What they care about is their pockets. That's it. If you're not talking about money, boudang, lining their pockets, they're not going to pay attention to the city. They won't. So now, to unravel what the minister said, it's going to take another 2 years. Because now, council police are persona non grata in the CBD. Council police can't even come here now because of that statement the minister made. And I shared this with the minister. So I'm not stabbing him from the front. Okay? What I'm sharing with you, I shared with him. We need to begin to love where we live. That's what we need to do. I want to be able to come to work with a clear road. I want to see bins on the street. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Tuanaka. I wonder if we'll ever see that. I mean, I'm getting old now. Another 25, 30 years, I won't even be here. You know, what kind of country we're going to leave our children coming behind us? I don't mean my kids, I'm talking about children in general. When you say it like that, a little discouraging sometimes, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes you run out of steam. 2 steps forward and 50 steps backwards. That's where it works in the CBD. All right. What do I want to talk about? Sean Tembo. He got on. You know what amazes me about you guys? You know, there are so many people acting stupid on social media, but you don't condemn them. I mean, I love Millie, but there's Millie with that lungu what's her name? The lungu, the booty dancing woman. You know, they made a video of them crying on camera and it came across as mockery to me. I know that that's not what they were doing, but that's how it appeared. You know, we've got CBU students acting stupid, pretending to mourn and cry. And nobody says nothing, right? Nobody says anything. But when I jump on my platform, you guys want to crucify me. Why? You've got these stupid prophets that are coming on social media saying, no, we prophesied that this would happen to the former president. lies. They didn't prophesy anything. But when I come on my platform and I share with you my thoughts, you want to crucify me. Why? This is the strangest thing. I mean, I want to talk about this, and when I posted earlier that I wanted to talk about it, you guys, no, we're mourning. Yeah, I know we are, but why aren't you saying anything about Sean Tembo coming on camera, squealing and crying like a stuck pig, acting stupid, and you're not saying anything? Why? What, you think that that's remorse? Sean Tembo, the guy that sued the government for 5 billion, well, he didn't sue. He said he sent a demand letter after Thabo Kawana aired his concern and sort of indicated to the Zambian public that former N6 President Lungu was going through chemotherapy. Information that you and I are privy to. Information that you and I should know. Information that you and I must know. There's nothing wrong with knowing about the health status of a former head of state. Zambians, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you people? There is nothing wrong with that. When there's a concern and you hear that the former head of state is going through a medical, physiological battle, and the Zambian people want to know, nay, they demand to know. You label the Zambian people intrusive and insensitive and inaccurate. Nakachinda went on a campaign rampage swearing up and down that the former president was going through a regular, routine medical checkup and that there was nothing wrong. When Thabo Kawana raised the concern, people even distanced themselves from Thabo Kawana. Sean Tembo on the highest mountaintop, talking about how no, everything's fine. Even has the audacity, the unmitigated gall to sue and send a demand letter for 5 billion kwacha. Have you ever heard of a more preposterous, a more foolish demand? And then the same Sean Tembo, the same one, turns on his camera and he starts wailing like a stuffed pig. And you think that we're going to embrace that? No. That's foolishness. I'm with Tasila Lungu. The dignity, the grief with which she shared with the Zambian people the demise of her father. She did it with grace and dignity. That's the way to do it. Our love, our hearts, our feelings and our sentiments of condolences, they go out to the Lungu family because we love them. But then you've got these political prostitutes like Sean Tembo, who will do everything within their power to suck a situation dry for their own political expedience. You jokers, you despots, you. And then there's CBU students. Where is the respect? What's going on with these kids? We never acted like that. The funeral, the demise of a former head of state, and then you start mocking, you start acting like you're crying. Millie in that booty dancing church lady. You make videos where you're crying like that? I love you, Millie, but that wasn't right. That was not right at all. Our condolences go out to the Lungu family. We love you. and we are so sorry for your loss. All right. I gotta go. Thanks for watching.